Hi friends, today let's learn about invitation and how to reply to the invitations. Invitation and reply. Let me explain you the marking scheme. Uh, Content 2 marks, expression 2 marks, and there will be total 4 marks for this short composition. Invitation, it's a meaning. It is like a short message to invite someone always made inside a box. It should be written in a box. Then can use different fonts or style in the invitation. We can use variety of fonts and variety of styles in the invitation card. It is written in the third person. Always it should be written in the third person. First person and second person should be avoided. So uh, this care we have to take regarding invitation. Then let me explain you the format of the invitation. Its a format is initially we have to note down the name of the host who is going to invite. So name of the host should be mentioned. Then standard expression. So some fine standard expressions should be written down. So those should be okay, formal one. Those should be standard one, followed by the purpose of the invitation. For what purpose the invitation is drafted? It's a wedding ceremony or a function or any social gathering or any function. So the purpose of the invitation should be mentioned there, followed by name of the honorary. Then the name should be mentioned, who is going to felicitate or who is going to celebrate his birthday. His name should be written, followed by day, date, time, and location or the venue should be mentioned in the later part of the invitation. And at the last bottom side, RSVP. This is a French phrase. It means kindly respond. So that should be at the end of the invitation, and followed by name and the contact number or mobile number of the host should be mentioned down at the invitation. Dear students, there are two types of formal invitation. First, the printed invitation cards inviting guests to be present on the particular occasion. Such invitations do not include the name of the addressee. And the second type of formal invitation is handwritten letter addressed to a VIP or the guests invited to preside over a school or cultural or educational functions. In such invitations, the name of the addressee appears prominently. So this is the difference between the first one and second one. So these are the two types of formal invitation. We have to take care regarding this, and we have to understand the difference between these two type of formal invitations. Now let me explain you the important features of the invitation. First, the names of the host should be mentioned. The name of the host should be clearly mentioned. Then the request is using the standard expression should be also there. So request should be in a standard format, in the standard expression it should be there. Then for example, the pleasure of your company request, the pleasure of your company. Then the reason for the invitation, it should be also mentioned, followed by time when the function is scheduled. Then the date of the program also should be mentioned, and the venue or the location also should be noted down. The name of the chief guest, if any chief guest is there who is going to preside over the function, so that should be also noted down. The name of the invitee may not figure in case of a printed card. If it is a printed card, So the name of the invitee should not be mentioned there. We have to take care. If it is a printed card, the name of the invitee should not be written. It should not be printed, or it should not be mentioned. Then the first person is used in such in invitations should be avoided. Always we have to use third person. So first and second person reference should be avoided, and instead of it third person reference should be added or included. The whole letter is written in a one single sentence. The whole invitation should be written in a single sentence, in one sentence format only. So this care we have to take in our mind. Then RSVP, this French phrase, it means kindly respond or kindly reply. So that should be also noted down. Let me explain the concept of invitation with the help of a specimen question here. Let me read the question. Draft an invitation on behalf of Mr. and Mrs. Sharma of 21 ABC Colony, New Delhi, for the birthday celebration on their son Ram on 23rd January 2020. Dear students, now try to understand how this question is solved. To our left side, our format is there, and to our right side, the question is solved. The invitation is drafted. So try to understand from the initial, from the beginning of the this question. Initially, the name of the host, it is a mention. So you can view towards your right side, Mr. and Mrs. Sharma, they are the host. So the names are mentioned there, Mr. and Mrs. Then standard expression, the standard tagline is used here, standard expression. So that's request the pleasure of your benign presence on the auspicious occasion. So this is a standard expression which is mentioned here, noted down. So such type of standard expressions should be used. Even we can take other standard expressions. There's no any bar, followed by the purpose of the invitation, and then the purpose of the invitation is mentioned. The question is related to the birthday celebration, so the birthday celebration is mentioned. The purpose of the invitation, so that is mentioned. And then name of the honoree, the whose birthday is going to be celebrated, so the key person name is also mentioned there. Of their son, here a third person is used, of their son, and the name, that is Ram, is mentioned here. So honorary name is noted down, and then the day, date, time, and location or venue. So these of the function, or these of the program, so that is mentioned here. uh, day, day is mentioned, followed by date, and then venue or location is also mentioned here. And left side, bottom corner, RSVP means this is a French phrase. Its meaning is kindly respond or kindly reply. So that is mentioned, followed by the name of the host and mobile number. So that is mentioned here. In this way, the including all the components of the format, you can view or you can judge either side of the screen. So format is there, and as well as the solved invitation is also there. So we can judge with this way. And then one more specimen we are going to understand. ABC school is holding their annual function on Wednesday 29th January 2020, and Mr. XX will be the chief guest. Draft an invitation for the same. So this is the question, and so the title name of the school is ABC, and they are holding their annual function. The date is also mentioned, and the name of the chief guest is not mentioned. So we can imagine, and we can note also, no problem. Otherwise, we can mention any name in the invitation card, so there's no any problem. So this is the question, and on this question we are going to draft invitation. Well, now try to understand how this question is solved. Here, as per our format, the invitation has begun with the name or title of the host. The title or the name of the host is, that's principal, staff, and the students. That's of ABC School, New Delhi. Here, initially, the name of the host is mentioned, followed by, that's our standard expression, request your presence on the occasion of their annual day function. So standard quotation is mentioned there, standard expression is noted down there, and then followed by the purpose of the function, that's the annual day function, it is mentioned. Now let me bring to your kind notice that the title or name of the host, that is in bold letters. The name of the school is also in bold letters, and the purpose of the invitation card, so that is also in bold letters. So here font size is somewhat different, and variation in the font or the various styles of fonts are also brought, can be brought in the invitation. And then followed by this day, date, and time, venue. These things are mentioned. You know very well, the day, date, and venue are mentioned in the question. The same we are bringing in the proper format. On Wednesday, 29 January 2020, this is a day and date is mentioned, and followed by at 9 a.m. So time is mentioned here, and venue or the location is also mentioned here, that's a school auditorium. Then at the end, that's Mr. Here name is not mentioned. We can mention any name, imaginary. Here the name is not mentioned. The Secretary of Higher Education, New Delhi, who is going to preside over this function. His name is, the name of the chief guest is mentioned here. Actual, we can mention the name of the imaginary name of any person, followed by RSVP. Then the at last the name of the host, that is okay, mentioned here, that's the principal of the school, that's noted down. So in this way the question is very nicely solved. We understood how to draft invitation. Including this, we have to understand how to reply to the invitations, how to acknowledge the invitations. A formal reply is usually very short, it is a brief and to the point. So these things we have to bear in our mind. Right inside a box, reply should be in a box. Around it, we have to draw a box. It is written in the third person. So the next point we have to keep in our mind that like invitation, it's a reply should be also in the third person. And the next point, that always start by saying thanks. So formal reply, that's it should always begin with the saying thanks. So this point we have to keep in our mind before drafting reply to the invitation. Here in front of us, there is the initial invitation is there, formal invitation. The same we have drafted in the beginning of this lecture. The same is here. That's Mr. and Mrs. Sharma. They are inviting to the birthday celebration of their son Ram, and then day, date, and venue, location, time is also mentioned here. So if such invitation is there, how one can, how we can give reply to the invitation, how to acknowledge such type of invitations. So here Mr. Lakshman, so he is drafting a reply to the invitation, he is giving a reply to the invitation, and so here his name is there, third person it's mentioned here, Mr. Lakshman, and then the word thanks is there, and the thanks is given to Mr. and Mrs. Sharma. So they had given invitation to Mr. Lakshman, and Lakshman is giving reply to the invitation. So his name is there, third person is implied here, and then the word thanks is also mentioned in the beginning of the reply to the invitation. And then for their kind invitation of their son's birthday celebration on 23rd January 2020 at 21 ABC Colony at 5 p.m. and has a great pleasure in accepting it. So the invitation is accepted by the Mr. Lakshman. So this is a reply of acceptance. Mr. Lakshman has responded a letter of reply to the host, Mr. and Mrs. Sharma, with this short and formal reply to the host. This was the reply of acceptance. Now, reply of refusal or reply of denial also possible. And here in front of you, the same reply of refusal or denial is there. That's Mr. Lakshman thanks Mr. and Mrs. Sharma for their kind invitation of their son's birthday celebration on 23rd January 2020 at 21 ABC Colony at 5 p.m. but regrets his inability to attend it due to prior engagement. He wishes Sharam a very happy birthday. Here Mr. Lakshman has begun with a thanks to the host, and then the purpose of the function is also mentioned there, what, when, where. So that is also quoted here. And then we should not forget that we are unable to attend the function. The reason should be also mentioned there. Here due to the prior engagement of the invitee, he is unable to attend the function. So that is mentioned here. So we have to keep a note in our mind that the reason of inability to attend the function, that should be mentioned down in the reply to the host. Such replies to the invitation should be ended by extending good wishes to the host for their function or program. So this is the most important point we have to keep in our mind before drafting a reply of refusal to the invitation. So these are the different points we have to keep in our mind. This was the guideline related to the invitation and replies of the invitation. Thank you for watching this video.